Hello. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go over my Stitchkins patterns. You may or may not have heard about the Stitchkins if you've been following me for a little while. They're a pattern line that I started developing last January. And so far there's 25, 26, 27, 28 patterns in the collection, with number 29 coming on Saturday. This is my giant version. I like to make my patterns in different size yarns. So like sometimes I'll use worsted weight, sometimes I'll use Bernat blanket. Well, most of the time I'll use Bernat blanket. Sometimes I'll use Sweet Snuggles. That guy is made out of Bernat blanket big. So this is the giant version and this is the regular version. But I find that like making them big makes them more eye-catching. So as I'm developing and when I'm promoting, I like to make giant versions just for fun. They do sell at markets. But anyways, I'm getting off track here. So the Stitchkins are my line of finger puppet patterns. I wanted something that was a little bit different, something that wasn't, like I wanted to create a niche for myself. We all make amigurumi and we all make plushies, and everyone does have their own style, but I wanted something to set myself apart even more than usual. So I came up with the idea that, hey, why not make a plushie that is a realistic looking animal and is also a finger puppet? So there's a little bit of an interactive aspect to it. So as I said, I've got Poncho the pup. He's coming out Saturday. This is my free Sage the Baby Bunny pattern that can be found here on YouTube. I started the collection off with reptiles, and I'll be honest, I don't have any of the reptiles here. Or I do. I have, this is the very first one. This is Noodle the snake. I wanted to just nail down the finger puppet aspect because there's like a finger tube opening underneath the head or in the back of the body of them all. And I just wanted to nail that down without having to worry about design. So that's why I came up with Noodle first. And Noodle is actually named after my sister's snake, her ball python. Then there was Clem and Patty. So Patty the bearded dragon, Clem the chameleon. Then I moved on to insects, and we have Nibbles the caterpillar and Dottie the ladybug. There's also a Flutter the butterfly, which I don't have any of. Last year when I was running low on stock, I kind of sold some of them. I have been trying to be better at keeping the originals, like the first ofs. So like I have the very first official Drift. Drift has been my, by far, the most popular pattern in the collection. It's a no-sew realistic octopus that works up really fast. Like for me, I can get them done in 24 minutes. The average person gets them done in like less than an hour for sure. But like also don't compare yourself to others. Everyone crochets at different speeds, so don't feel bad if you can't get them done that quickly. It's just a matter of practice. I have been crocheting for 5 years almost every day, all like sometimes like 10 hours a day, so my hands move like lightning at this point. But yeah, this is Drift, and I went through like a whole bunch of different sea creatures. So I've got Ripple the ray. My whole purpose with them was to make them no-sew. I wanted to make stuff that was easy to make, stress-free, but also like realistic and eye-catching for people that were doing markets. Because I was a market vendor, and still am, just not as many, for a long time. And I was really picky on which patterns that I used because I wanted something that I could profit off of without having a price point be too high, because personally I find that my like sweet spot is in the 10 to 20, maybe $30 range when it comes to selling plushies. So I design all of the Stitchkins with this price point in mind. Like they're all roughly the same size, they take about the same amount of material and the same amount of time to create, and some of them have like little secrets. So like one of my testers discovered that if you put a slap bracelet in the tail of Scoot the seahorse here, he becomes a fidget toy as well, with no modification. You just, instead of stuffing the tail, you put a slap bracelet inside of it. which the kids always really love at markets. Honestly, all of the Stitchkins have been really popular for me. I sold them at a number of events last year, including Kempenfest, which is a large one up in Barrie, and then my 11-day one-of-a-kind show, and a couple others sprinkled throughout. But I've got, like, I was really on the sea animal kick, the sea creatures. So Bruce the shark, this one's made out of Sweet Snuggles Light. I hope you can see him there. And then Splash the dolphin. I like to make them as realistic looking as possible. I've done the kawaii, I've done the blown up looking, I've done the cutesy, and I really just think that making them as realistic as possible is challenging. It's fun, and it makes them more recognizable, like instantly. People just, oh, that's a dolphin, oh, that's a stingray. After I finished, there's another Scoot the Seahorse, but this one's made out of Big Twist plush. That's my other thing. Like, I like to incorporate different size items. Like when I'm making my patterns for these guys, every Stitchkins pattern comes with size comparison charts where I've made the pattern in at least 3 different yarns, so that you can tell, okay, if I'm using worsted weight, blanket yarn, which I don't have here, imagine he's in the center here, or even Sweet Snuggles, they're all going to represent different sizes and different yarns and different materials, because let's be honest, we don't all use the same stuff, right? So I like to give people an idea of what they're getting into and what to expect based on a few rough material ideas, right? Like, same thing with these guys. This one's Sweet Snuggles, and this one's Bernat Blanket. They're not drastically different, but there is differences. This is, I honestly don't remember the name. I am so terrible. Oh my god. What is your name? I had a line of, these were my Halloween mini pack with the ghost. I think it was Spook. And then Cornelius the candy corn, and I had a pumpkin and a spooter. This is Sid the spider. This one's made out of worsted weight. Again, I'm pretty sure I sold the other ones. So I worked through reptiles, then insects, then sea creatures, and then I started to expand. And in the fall, I started making farm animals. So I've got Pen the pig, as I showed you earlier. This is Clover the cow, but this one's made out of worsted weight, so he's much smaller. Typically, if it was blanket yarn, he'd be about the same size as this guy. And then I also have Royal the pony, which was named after the Royal, which is the other giant 10-day market that I did last year. I ended up designing Royal while I was at that event, and so I thought that it was a cool namesake, you know. I also made Remy and Ozzy. So Remy is the rat or the mouse, whichever you prefer, and then Ozzy is the opossum, and this is a 2-in-1 pattern. So it's the same body, same pieces, but the color changes. You can make either an opossum or a rat/mouse. I know some people don't really like hearing it called a rat, so he could be a mouse if you want. It's art. It's whatever you want it to be, right? And then after I did that, this year, I started to do pets and like woodland animals, I guess. So first step was Basil the bunny. These guys, again, more realistic. Everything is no-sew, and like I said, aim to make them as easy as possible. So it's just a matter of making all of the pieces first, and then they're crocheted together. Then we have Kip the kitten, and again, I mean, if you watched Heated Rivalry, you know where I got the name Kip from. I was obsessed with that show for a little while. I mean, still I am, but it's slowed down a little bit. Kip the kitten, and then now, this week, I am currently putting out Poncho the puppy. So like Lab, Cocker Spaniel. I've also made like Rottweiler Doberman versions. and then the big boy, the big scrappy one back there. But the Stitchkins just bring me so much joy, and I enjoy seeing other people discover them. And then they're one of those pattern lines where once you start making them, you kind of know what to expect with me. Having my carpentry background, I like to make my patterns as detailed as possible. If you want an idea, you can go over to my Instagram profile, and I have Sage the Baby Bunny and the Halloween minis. They're posted up there for free in like the full PDF format. So you see the entire document style that I usually work with, where I'm including, like, I have my intro page with some fun facts on it. I draw each and every one of these. So I take that drawing and it becomes like the page number footer on every page, or they're scattered throughout in different colors. And then I also include coloring pages so that you can plan out your colors, or your little kids you can color them just for fun. What else? And then when it comes to actually instructions, I do written instructions in US terminology, and then I also put as many little like notes and as much information as possible, because coming from carpentry, I work with blueprints where it is a little overwhelming in some ways, where they are just jam-packed with construction notes and information for all the different trades throughout the entire building process, but it's organized in a way that like you can understand. And so that's kind of what I've developed, where I have written notes, then you can refer to different pages where I've got, okay, if you're going to be attaching the arms or the legs, if you're going to be attaching the legs or the ears, for example, in these guys, I have a section where it's like 4 step-by-step photos with written instructions on how to attach the ears, and how to attach like the legs and the tail. The ears are done slightly different. So like, I want to be as detailed as possible and make it so that any questions you have are there before you need to reach out to me. Obviously, you're welcome to reach out to me. I love talking and I love answering questions. If you've bought something from me, then I want to make sure that you're getting your full money's worth. I want to make sure there's value there, and I don't want you to feel like you're ever stuck. So you can always reach out to me on socials or send me an email. So I have written instructions, photos, and then I've also developed these diagrams that help to explain the 4 rounds around the finger tube, so that you can see, like, and then I do like finger tube version, like puppet version, and then the next page is the plushy version, so that you can actually compare the two of them to even see what the difference is, to just clarify it even that much more. Like I said, I want to make sure that it is like as user-friendly as possible. And then since maybe the last like 6 of them, I've started making actual like dedicated YouTube videos that explain all of the tricky bits, and those are linked in the pattern with a QR code. If you print it out, you can scan it with your phone, or you can go, there's a clickable link. If you download the PDF and you're using it virtually, you can click that link and it'll take you to an unlisted YouTube video. I just ask that you never like share these with anybody, because they're only for the people that have purchased. But like with all of that information, they should be pretty user friendly. I say that they're intermediate patterns, but this is mostly just because it's the level I feel like they would be at. But I've heard a lot of people say that they're beginners, and I provide enough information where they challenge themselves, they learn something new. I taught them a new skill, and they were extremely satisfied with it. But yeah, I'm going to continue to expand on this line for the foreseeable future. I've got so many ideas, like endless ideas. I want to go through the entire animal kingdom slowly, bit by bit. I usually do like a pattern every 2 to 3 weeks. That way it's not overwhelming, and I can actually like take the time to properly vet them and make sure that they're edited and polished before they are sent out. I don't want to just like throw a whole bunch of stuff at you guys and it not be good, you know? I want to be proud of the product that I'm putting out there. And with the Stitchkins, I certainly am. So thanks for watching. If you've ever made any of these, let me know in the comments below what you think. Or even like if there's any animals that you think that I should add to the line, feel free to leave them below. I am always looking for more ideas. I hope that this cleared up a little bit any questions, or just like made you a little bit more interested in trying out some of these patterns. You can find them all over on my Etsy. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching.